What makes Brittney Griner wrongfully detained? The U.S. declaring her as wrongfully detained is a legal designation that means the U.S. no longer has to wait for her case to play out in Russian courts but rather take action to try and get her returned home sooner regardless of her plea.
Moscow will agree to release detained WNBA star Brittney Griner if the U.S. government agrees to a prisoner swap involving a Russian arms dealer, his lawyer told NBC News on Thursday, offering a potentially unsavory option to the Biden administration. It was always political.
The legal status was changed and made her wrongfully detained so the U.S. can use diplomacy, ambassadors to negotiate her release, to free her via prisoner swap by treating her like a hostage. It gave the U.S. permission to interfere. At that time she had been held for over 70 days without any progress in the Russian justice system. As of today, she pleaded guilty in court. Carrying vape cartridges that contained hashish oil can get her 10 years in Russian prison.
If she broke Russian drug laws, and she's admitted now she did, she isn't being wrongfully detained. She broke the law in a country known for their harsh legal system and now it's going to play out at its usual snail pace.
Considering that it's Russia, I'm not entirely convinced she had any drugs on her.
It's definitely not wrong in Russia's POV. They have a law. She broke the law. She is going to get punished for it. Same thing applies to anywhere else in the world. In a practical sense, she isn't being wrongfully detained. She pretty blatantly broke a law and is being punished for it. However, that doesn't mean that Russia isn't inflating this case for political reasons. From what I understand, they began negotiating her release for the release of a dangerous Russian prisoner here in the U.S. before they had officially charged her with anything. It's all a mess and it's sad that she's caught up in it. She's still an idiot for bringing drugs to Russia though. I mean, I think I would have made pretty damn sure it was legal before traveling with it to a foreign country. Being placed in a Russian jail is pretty high up there on the list of things I never want to do. The detention is certainly not wrongful. She has admitted to the charges, but argued that she didn't know it was illegal. I don't know about Russia, but in the U.S., ignorance of the law is not an excuse for breaking it. People are acting like she should just be sent home. Like Russia should just forget that she broke the law and let her walk free. Cannabis in Russia is illegal. Possession of up to 6 grams, or 2 grams of hashish, is an administrative offense, punishable by a fine or detention of 15 days. Possession of larger amounts is a criminal offense. How does her facing 10 years instead not scream, wrongfully detained? Your answers are being flooded by right-wing drug war fanatics or Russian bots. Honestly, don't pay attention to any of the people saying, she broke the law and needs to take responsibility. She should have known better than to go into Russia with drugs. They aren't answering you in good faith. Brittney Griner has been playing professional basketball in Russia during the WNBA's off-season for years. During this time, she, like many other players, has been using marijuana recreationally with zero repercussion from Russian authorities. In full knowledge of their legal system and sports authorities, they probably assured her or her management that traveling with a personal vape would be fine when she first signed the contract to play in Russia. Russia decided to arrest and imprison her for possessing the drugs they had been fine with her carrying and using for several years when they invaded Ukraine, because they wanted a political prisoner. There is also a homophobic aspect to this. Brittney Griner is a lesbian married to another woman, and a large component of the Russian propaganda push has been painting themselves as a last holdout of morality against the depraved, decadent West, symbolized by the West's embracing LGBT people and Russia criminalizing them. Like the highest authority of the Russian Orthodox Church giving a speech saying that Ukraine wanted to invade Russia, and the West is against Russia because they refuse to hold LGBT pride parades. Putin also justified his invasion of Ukraine with the bizarre claim that Zelensky was a drug addict or drug dealer, so this case has propaganda relevance on that front. 2. Her charge has also been inflated. She's facing a 10-year distribution, drug dealing sentence for having a personal vape pen with an amount of hashish oil well below Russia's threshold for possession versus dealing. The bottom line, though, is that Russian law enforcement has allowed Brittney Griner to transport and use drugs for several years, and then decided to arrest her for political reasons. They did not suddenly catch her with drugs she had not been using and bringing into the country. Every other time she traveled there to play professionally. It is not a situation of Griner foolishly breaking the law and getting caught. It's about Russian authorities selectively enforcing their laws based on the political situation, and using that to take a high-profile LGBT person, which the current Russian government sees as a culture war trophy, as a political prisoner. As a comparison, imagine if an LGBT celebrity like, say, Frank Ocean, or Megan Rapinoe, someone who had toured in the state many times, was arrested in Florida for marijuana possession, thrown in prison without possibility of bail, and given a high-profile felony trial as a drug dealer for having a vape pen right when Ron DeSantis was making his "Don't Say Gay" bill into law. And DeSantis bragged about not letting other states' perverted liberal values taint Florida's children. In this hypothetical case, did Frank or Megan foolishly break the law and need to take personal responsibility? Or were they politically targeted? Keyboard warriors and woke celebrities are trying to make her wrongfully detained. She broke the law. Even if it's not the law here, it is there.
Nothing. She isn't illegally detained.
Nothing. She played a stupid game and won a stupid prize.
She knowingly took vape with THC in it to Russia. This is all her own fault. The US shouldn't be involved at all. She was found with less than a gram of cannabis oil in her luggage. A reasonable prosecutor would say take it with you when you leave. At worst, not let them back into the country. Instead, she has to serve 10 years in prison. How has she been playing ball in Russia for 10 years and doesn't have a Russian plug to hook her up? On the other side? Especially a high-profile American athlete. I'm sure some Russian would have been more than happy to supply her some ganja. That just reeks of stupidity. Fuck her. You take your chances when you break the law in foreign countries. I am a traveler and pot smoker, and I'm careful about what I do and where I do it. She had a CBD vape is what I heard. It's ridiculous to be put in jail because of CBD. It's ridiculous to be put in jail for having any drug, in my opinion. So there is definitely political motive here, as many have said. But this isn't the first time someone entering Russia with marijuana has faced serious charges. There was a huge case of an Israeli woman caught with a small amount of marijuana. Not enough to distribute. And she was sentenced to 7 years in jail. She was only freed before the Prime Minister of Israel went on an official state visit to Russia. I believe she was in jail for a year. What you need to understand is a few things. First off, she is charged with smuggling. This is a much more serious charge than possession because she crossed borders with it and tried to bring it into another country illegally. We have the same laws here. Even for minor amounts of illegal drugs, if detected at the airport, you're immediately placed under arrest. Even if you're traveling from a country where recreational use is legal, Holland for instance, to another country where recreational use is legal, Canada, you can still be arrested entering Canada with it because it's a smuggling charge now regarding How long she's being held? That's a different story, and that part is very political. The sentencing and detention of the Israeli woman was political as well. Well, it's barbaric and wrong that she's going to jail for weed, says the USA government that's put hundreds of thousands of people in prison for weed.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.